we'll jump into a demo site that's going to look a lot like when you first logged into your trial. And then I'll be hopping back and forth between my demo site that has a bit more data in it. So let's go in. As you log in, you'll be directed towards the CRM or the company section that you can find right here. What we have is an example client, and all the work that you do for this example client will fall underneath them, whether it be, like I was saying before, the beginning of the relationship or even ongoing work. You'll find it all underneath here. You'll see key metrics, what's been updated, including different filter fields like categories and tags that you can use to segment your CRM or even do outbound email. And here's the full customer journey or life cycle. We're bringing traditionally 4 or even 5 tools that you're using to manage these all under one hood, so you can have a really good idea of what's going on with this customer. And what I want to do is start with this first sales opportunity. What you'll see on the left-hand side are high-level details, client information, like phone numbers, so you have those quickly and easily to call. You'll also find that these inline guides will come throughout the journey. I won't go through them today, but a lot of our customers have found them really helpful in highlighting the key aspects of what they need to focus on. For example, key metrics and value fields. What you can see up here are statuses and status progressions. What you get to do is customize these to exactly how your business works. Not only can you rename these, but you can also define the flow. For example, maybe you have a sign-off and proposal process built into this. You'll be able to build that in as well. And what's also really powerful about these is you can automate some of the things that come out of it. For example, since I clicked on quote requested, we had a task that automatically shows up here. And for example, if quote is sent, maybe it prompts me to update a due date. What you can also do is you can build really professional quotes and send them out to your customer. And what the quote can include is essentially a full project plan that has all the hours, the estimates, and even dependencies on the back end. So once I convert this into a project, you'll be able to see what those dependencies start to look like on the project plan. In your trial, you'll find that there's the default and then an automated example. Default will just be statuses that goes through a pretty basic 3 to 4 step progression. Automated tends to be a bit more complex and will often allow you to see how different invoicing or billing structures can be built into your projects as well. So now what's happening is Accelo on the back end is taking a sale or a quote and then bringing it over into the project side of our software. And here we are. Now we're in a full project in which we can manage. Before I jump too far into the project side, I want to show some of the sales reporting or ways that the account management or executive team can keep track of their leads and new business. So like I said, I'm going to hop into my demo site. What you'll see here in the list of all the sales is the different statuses. This just happens to be an example workflow through prospect and qualifying, and all the sales in the pipeline. This would be more of a manager's point of view, going through the pipeline with people like Mark, Rebecca, or Brendan. Now, if Rebecca were to come in as an account manager and just want to focus on her sales, she would be able to do that with these quick filters. Or what she can do is she can have personal filters or even share filters with the rest of the team. So the way she can start doing that is using these tabs right here. Maybe She wants to see all overdue sales in the past 90 days. She can save that and share it with the rest of the team. Additionally, on the sales side, what executives can do is look from a bit of a higher perspective. We have the sales dashboard where you can forecast the value of future sales. And then also look at a sales funnel for the progress. For example, all the quotes being sent might be in the 50% chance of closing range. And you click on this, you'll get the same list that we were looking at before. Then lastly, you're able to focus on performance by different staff members or maybe type of sale. And now that we've sent out the quote and started the project, or at least the project is in the planning phase, a really common activity would be to sit down with management on a Monday morning and go through how busy the rest of the team is to know when we can start projects or even sell before we convert the quote. And what we have for that is a utilization dashboard. So no longer do you have to go around to the rest of the team and say, how busy do you think you are? Or try to pull up the project team and get a sense on all the projects. You're able to really easily see the company's utilization right here. So what you see are future project plans and how they're affecting the rest of the team. It's just David and Nico now. Maybe I want to pull up some other individuals, like my consultants, design, and implementation team. And since we're looking into the future, I'm going to go ahead and there. So what I see here is that we are really overloaded in May and that it starts tapering off into June. So anything that I sell, I probably want to go even further past June. And I'm able to do that using the date ranges as well. Maybe I want a greater range. There we go. And I'm pretty comfortable with starting my projects then in the June 12th or in the 19th range. The utilization dashboard can also look in the past. This would be less of a sales conversation and more of a project director, professional service conversation of, are we hitting our target billable rates? And instead of looking at after for sales, I would be looking before. This would show me in green what my billable hours were versus in orange what my non-billable was week over week. So here it looks like as an agency, we're really all over the place, that we're booking some doing really well some weeks and not so well the other weeks. So moving a bit out of the sales, that forecasting utilization side into the daily life of the project, what you can see here is a project that just got converted from a quote. I'll show you what the project looks like on the back end. This is something that we already put together in the scope of work in the quoting phase. And how we did this was through a template. What I can do, since the template is exactly the same, I'll just delete everything that you're seeing here to build the same or a new project. Commonly, our customers are finding that they have 3 or 4 projects that feel the same, whether it be website implementation or new client onboarding. And they've saved a lot of the time building these projects with templates, where you're able to define the range of the work on the right-hand side, and also the duration and the hour budget on the left. These templates are just a starting point or a boilerplate. What you can do is say, all right, this is a much bigger website than we built before. Let's give ourselves 2 weeks. And instead of 10 hours, let's bump that up to 30 hours. What I'm also able to do on the project management side is define my rate structure, whether it be time and materials or just using rates to get an idea of a fixed bid. What you find is that the total just changed. Now, when I was saying the difference between time and materials and fixed bid, we can let you roll up all the pricing here, or you can say, all right, based on my normal billable rate at 29, I think that we can get 35K out of this. So you can go more of the fixed structure as well. Then lastly, we've templated some materials here, but you can add any materials that you want to the project as well. Let's say we have some print items. Now, normally the next step in the project would be to assign out the work. There's a few ways to assign out tasks. One would be just to come in here to each of the tasks on the task card, see what needs to be done, and then assign out the right resource to it. In this case, Jimmy Hotshot. Another way to assign out or schedule work would be through our team scheduling function. So let's take a look at that. On the right, just like pulling different user groups from the utilization dashboard, I'm able to look at my design team versus my development team. And since it's design, let's pull them up. And it looks like Jimmy's not in a specific group yet, which means I can pull him manually. What you'll see on Jimmy's calendar, it looks like, are the mockups that we assigned to him from the project plan without really knowing how busy Jimmy is. Since it's the first project in the site, it doesn't matter that much that we don't know how busy Jimmy is. But once he starts booking up day over day, it would be really helpful to see that, all right, Jimmy's around 20 hours per week here. So if we were to assign him the wireframes task, we would see how busy he is. Automatically change. So now he's working on wireframes and mockups. Now let's say that we were, instead of going on big task assignments, just looking on the day-to-day, and I'm on my maybe Monday stand-up, and I'm figuring out what I need to do this week. Instead of doing these auto tasks, which automatically reflect and change based on project plans and due dates, what I can start doing is scheduling out specific time. You can think of these as either coming from a backlog or just committing and scheduling time on a calendar. Instead of the 3 hours that Accelo automatically puts on the calendar, I want Jimmy to work on this task for the entire day. Now what you can see here is this scheduled time sitting here for the entire day. And then on the next days, the wireframes have dropped down in the amount of time that he needs to do because we're essentially having him do a lot more of the work on the other day. When you start putting in more users and adding them to different teams, you'll start finding that the team scheduling is really useful for not only assigning out work and seeing how busy people are, but starting to shift work around. So for example, Mark is extremely busy on Friday and Thursday, and Damon looks like he doesn't have as much work. So what I can do is I can reallocate to Damon and help him pick up some of the tasks. Or let's say that Mark is going camping for the weekend and just needs someone to tag team and help him out on a task. We can shift and move work around this way too. And I know that we haven't gone into the tickets or the retainer side quite yet, but since we're on this, I do want to show that it's not only projects that we can assign out, it's also the tickets and small pieces of work that we can assign out here. So as we're working on these bigger projects that are taking most of the team's time, we can quickly see that, oh, shoot, the website's down. This is a little bit more on fire, or literally on fire, than the other projects. So I can prioritize tasks this way as well. So now that we've assigned some work out to Jimmy, what I want to do is show you his calendar and what that looks like. Now, everything is starting April 29th. Let's have it start at the beginning of this week so that I can show you how it can reflect on his personal schedule. One way Jimmy can come in and see what he needs to do and what's expected of him would be through his personal schedule. So instead of seeing the whole entire teams during stand-up, shifting and moving things around, he would just be able to come in here and see exactly what he needs to work on today, like the mock-ups. Specifically what's involved, maybe any files or conversations that are already sitting here. And then he can add activities or time to it. Now, in this activity, what's really powerful about this is I can start pulling in other people on the team or even clients into my conversations in collaboration within tasks. What's really nice about this is if I were to send this contact and he were to reply back to me, I would see it both on this task and also my Gmail or Office 365 inbox. So the way that the email sync works is that it's completely going both ways and you don't have to worry about one place showing up versus another not. Past the collaboration, what Accelo does a really good job on is proactive time tracking. What you can see here is a timer automatically going for those small communications. Now, Jimmy, as maybe a developer, might not have as many of these client communications, but what we found is project managers are spending at least 10 hours a week on this internal collaboration communication. And some of our customers, like Big Blue Digital, were able to recoup half, if not more, of that cost in their invoicing and billing. So you're getting paid for the work that you love doing. Now, if your team has used swim lanes like a Jira or Trello in the past and like the idea of more of the agile or Kanban sort of view for scheduling, and Jimmy does too, we have different boards to be able to focus on what you need to do today and tomorrow, or what have you started working on versus what's pending and still coming through the pipeline. And we started working on mockups from the last screen. So what Jimmy can do is look into the same stream, see what's going on, and if contact example has responded. And a lot of the developers, engineers that we found are really liking the timers. We have a desktop timer and a mobile app timer on top of this. So he'll be able to let it run, pause it, create new timers, shift work around. And when he's done, complete it. This is just another way to easily get time into the system without creating these artificial barriers to log time, or honestly coming in Friday afternoon or maybe Monday morning and making up your time for the entire week. And then lastly, what Jimmy can do would be just to come into his timesheet like he has in other software. See what he's logged throughout the week. And then also what's suggested. So if you remember, we assigned him that mock-up task to do on Thursday. And it was not for 1 hour, but it was for about 2.5, 3 hours. What he's then able to do is say, oh, right, you know what? I did do more than 1 hour. Thanks for reminding me. So instead of looking at his sticky notes for what to do for the rest of the week, we have little sticky notes here to remind him. And then lastly, we have the very manual, the way that a lot of agencies and companies have always been doing timesheets, where you look up the job and you log time against it. Now, I've been logging a lot of time from the end user, where we start seeing a lot of the benefit is how quickly we're able to see live budget tracking on all of our projects. So what I want to do is take a look back at the project to see how it's updated. Fantastic. Now we can see that all the work that Jimmy's been putting in, I can see it live, so I don't have to ask him what's going on. And also, we haven't completely blown through our budget like sometimes happens when time logging is on a end of the week or end of 2 week cycle. As a project manager, I can see what Jimmy's been working on, any conversations or communication that has been happening as well. If I was focusing more on hours, if I was maybe a director or just a team member looking at this project, I might just be looking at hours and have permissions just to focus on hours. And we can sort of change these and toggle the permissions. For example, maybe only executives get to see live profit margins on all of our work. Now, what we found is a lot of softwares out here have this time tracking with project management, but really lack on the insight and the overview. So what I want to transition into, instead of just looking at one project, would be a bunch of projects and how we can start tracking those budgets. Similar to the list of sales like I pulled before, is a list of projects. And maybe we only want to look at Janice and Rebecca's overdue projects this time. And what I can see is the live burn rate by comparing the percent done in dollars versus the percent done in the number of tasks. And I also get a sense of how the tasks are tracking along. Are they still pending? Have we completed them? Or are they a bunch of overdue ones? So this is usually a good place for the project manager to stop in, see how things are tracking. Additionally, from a more executive, VP of Ops, head of professional service role, I'm able to see a project dashboard to see if things are running smoothly and to spot if anything is being held up. It looks like we're working pretty well on this project, but on all the market research and other items, we've either blown the budget or aren't hitting any of our due dates. So instead of looking at the end of the project, realizing that the project didn't go well, you can start saying, let's do better this time and make changes to the project while it's happening live. Now, the last thing that I want to show on the projects is a quick introduction to how we can start defining our workflows throughout the entire project. For example, if I were to move this into the active and invoice status, we can prompt some things for either the accounts team to come in or finance team to come in to invoice the project. This would be an example alert. Also, example alerts are really good when you win a sale and you pass it off to the project team to put in some initial client information when you're moving it through a status. So in this example, it's probably a 70 or 30% down deposit on project start. And what we'll be able to do with these bill to fields is match them up with your QuickBooks or your Xero accounting, which means that all the addresses and the emails can sync back and forth with both applications. And what you'll find is all of these pieces of information, like the milestones, can automatically sync over as well to your accounting. Now, it looks a little blank right now. In the example that I was giving, having a 30% down deposit, it will just take each milestone and take 30% of it. Now, maybe we aren't doing down deposits. We're doing a monthly invoice for all the time that's being logged. Since I have already logged some time on it, we can see what a T&M would look like as well. So it will take all the time that Jimmy has logged either through his timesheet or the automated taskboard and roll it up to a high-level milestone. Or if I want to show more information on my invoice, I'm able to do so. What Accelo will automatically do is connect the correct general ledger codes with your account and the tax codes so that it posts the right areas. And then lastly, all I need to do is save the invoice, and I've automatically started that sync over to Xero or QuickBooks. So no more exporting at the end of a project or manually putting in invoices, sending out, trying to figure out if they've been paid or not. It's all going to be integrated back into the invoices area. So in this example, we still have all that outstanding. Let's just pretend that we've recorded it on the Xero side. Now you can see that there's nothing outstanding and that we have a full credit from Xero. Essentially, the integration works the same way. It's a full two-way sync all the way back from recording payments in your accounting, Xero or QuickBooks. Now, we don't have enough time on this call to really go through too much of these different tabs, but I just briefly want to show an overview. Schedule allows you to see how you're tracking with the entire project and gives you estimated due dates. Each task and milestone has a stream, but also the entire project has a stream that shows you client communication and rough updates of what's going on, like sending invoices or moving at statuses. All emails will automatically pull attachments into here. Or what you can do is you can link from Google Drive or from just your computer or other web services like Dropbox or Box. We'll keep a permanent link in here so that it links directly back to these. It's not a manual file upload, so you don't have to worry about updating it. You're also able to put expenses in the system like tickets and flights, food, or just personal expenses that come up throughout the project that aren't reimbursable. We also have a really nice mobile app for anyone on the road to put in expenses. Invoices like we've shown before. And then sign-offs are a way to either have change orders in a more formal form or to send design or final go-live sign-offs to the client. They can view these on the client portal and agree or not agree to move forward with the project. Now, speaking about the client portal, what you can do is you're going to invite clients for them to be able to see all the work that you're doing for them. This would be an example of our contact logging into the digital marketing agency portal. You can see all the high levels of what we're doing and all the updates here. You would be able to track the project progress. And how they're going. We have a bunch of different permissions that we can do on the portal as well. For example, it looks like we're not showing time or budget here. We're just showing due date and status. You'll be able to change that as well. He has the ability to view invoices and even pay them through the portal as well if you connect with PayPal or Stripe, authorize.net to be able to take credit cards. And then lastly, what the contact would be able to do is make a request. The most common use for a request would be a support request like system down. And when you create that request, what will happen is it will move into your own account underneath your personal inbox and the support queue if it were a support request. And what's really powerful about this is it gets a way to get you out of having separate email inboxes or just a universal inbox where you're keeping track of all the support into a place where everyone can see what's going on and you're always one click away from getting a higher view of the example client. Now, what I'll be able to do is reply in here, and the rest of the team would be able to see that it's claimed by me. Or also what I can do is just convert this into a new ticket to work on. Instead of me being Jimmy, maybe I'm a manager of the support team. What I would be able to do is assign it out to different individuals as well. And let's attach it to this support retainer, meaning that all the work that I'm doing here will automatically connect back to it. Now, what you'll find, just like on the sales and project side, is that we can automate some of the messages and workflows that are going out. For example, we can have this on ticket creation, and it feels a lot like it's coming directly from you. It looks like it's coming from your Gmail or Office 365. And also, we can template different items to make it still feel personal. And as I'm doing work on it, or as I'm replying to emails in line, I can automatically have this timer again to be able to keep track of everything. Let's say that I did an hour of troubleshooting. And now I'm passing it off to the client for them to essentially solve the problem. Now, this is the more granular view. What you'll see on a higher level view are the different queues for tickets. What a lot of our teams are doing for the smaller support teams is just managing tickets by person, what's assigned to me, or by the type. This is my MSP support type versus this is my bug and issue tracking that I'm linking with Jira for the next product release. And again, all these statuses and automation for the ticket types can all be built in here as well. Now that we've done some work, I want to show you what it looks like on the contract or the retainer side. Here we can see that we've had $100 of usage. And that's because at a bill rate of $100, we've logged an hour from the ticket, and it's automatically focusing and funneling up to the top of the funnel. So that when we're charging for all of our time and materials at the end of the month, all of our project ticket, even task work that's done to the support contract can automatically be rolled up and put into a really professional looking invoice. Now, support contracts are one side of the ongoing relationship. The other side is the more proactive work. I know what I'm doing for a customer every month, and it's recurring. Some really common examples for our customers would be a social media, an SEO, or PPC work that you're doing every month. And what you'll be able to do into each period, if we take a look, is automatically recur some of the tasks that need to be done. For example, we might be doing 2 tasks of PPC and 1 of SEO, and it's automatically getting sent up and put onto my team schedule every month. So I don't have to think about it. I don't have to build out a new project every month. And again, just like logging time on a ticket, having that show up here, logging time on any of these tasks will automatically show up in the retainer as well. So this is a fixed fee with prepaid of 10-hour buckets. I'm having these tasks automatically generated, and any time I do work, it automatically comes out of this bucket. Now, if I had more than just 2 retainers that had a little bit more work, I would be able to see it in my full retainer report. And here I can see if I'm under-servicing or if I'm over-servicing any of my customers. And through triggers, if you set them up through configuration in the retainer section, we wouldn't have to pull these reports as often. We can get automatic alerts saying, hey, by the way, they've only logged 30 minutes out of a 40-hour bucket last month. What's going on? We're definitely under-servicing them. Are they likely to churn or stop being customers of ours? Or the other way around. It's 10 days into the month and they've already used 90% of the retainer. The burn looks really high. Let's alert them and let them know that they're using a lot of their retainer. So you're able to see this from here. They're able to see it from their client portal on the budget and the usage as well. But those automated alerts have been really helpful for our customers so that there's a lot of transparency and communication about that retainer. And the last thing that I'll end on is the profitability dashboard. We've done a lot of the work on the project side and the retainer side, but as we're rolling up everything to a really good sense of what you're doing in an overarching company view, profitability is a really excellent place to start. What I'm able to see is how effective I've been week over week across all the work that I'm doing. And then individually for people on my team, how profitable they are. Again, these sort of views can be reserved only for the CFO and executives through different levels of permission so that not the whole entire team gets to see these items. But a lot of the times, especially for Rebecca, it was exporting Excel, putting it into a pivot table, connecting it with QuickBooks, getting it billed and paid late. What Accelo was able to do was automate a lot of that process that we've been talking about, but also adding a layer on top of that of these executive dashboards. You're seeing like the profitability dashboard, utilization, or even project dashboard to get that traffic light sort of view to make sure that things are running smoothly. And if they aren't, find ways to change courses. So that's the system from a really high level overview, trying to put automation and connecting a lot of your tools in place so that you spend less time manually searching for information or manually doing things and more time spending the work that you love, delivering awesome projects, upselling for things that people really need, or just having a really solid ongoing relationship through retainers. And lastly, do the work you love. Thank you, everyone, and have a good morning.